So, my name's Amy, and I'm going to tell you my story. Now, I don't have a story you hear every day. For a long time, it was a story I couldn't understand, like the sick plot of a psychological thriller. My life was out of control, so I called a therapist, and she listened to my flustered ramblings, and she calmly replied, "You have to tell your story." Tell my story? Yes, you have to put into words what happened to you. I hung up and never talked to her again. I was so used to thinking myself out. I didn't know why I actually had to verbalize it. Like, what could words actually do? I spent a few months pretending like everything was okay, but it wasn't. So then I thought, what the heck, I'll say it. I tried and I couldn't speak. At that moment, I knew the therapist was right. Until I could use the power of words to express how I was feeling, I couldn't really heal. It took years before I could even articulate an idea of the turmoil that was rattling around inside of me. I had all kinds of journals, the kind you see at Hallmark with the inspirational pretty covers and the quotes, believing there would come a time one day where words would guide me back to my old self. And I also brought a book of photographs. Hey. See the pretty picture frame. See the photograph of home. See the girl inside with the purple dress. She chose that on her own. Lay the framework of my youth down on a matted 8x10. Blow it up and call me true. Can I make memories again? Oh my God, I remember this. My first original musical, written and performed on my own swing set. Picture this, picture me, happiness, giddy free. Picture life, belting show tunes, life was full of hope. As long as I could hit that note, bring me there. I can taste it, take me there. Why should I waste it? Oh, my mom is going to pick me up for Sound of Music rehearsal. So I have like an hour to talk to you guys. And then I have dance practice, and then my friends want to get together. And my mom is driving me crazy about cleaning my room. I'm 13. She's giving me a hard time about trying out for the next show while I'm still in rehearsals for this one. I'm so busy. And I love it. What I like most about rivers is you can't step in the same river twice. The water's always changing, always flowing. But people, I guess, can't live like that. We all must pay a price. To be safe, we lose our chance of ever knowing what's around the river bend. Waiting just around the river bend. I look once more, just around the river bend, beyond the shore. Somewhere past the sea, don't know what for. Why do all my dreams extend just around the river bend? feel it just beyond the trees or right behind these waterfalls? Can I ignore the sound of distant drumming? For a handsome, sturdy husband who lives handsome, sturdy walls and never dreams that something might be coming. Just around the river bend, just around the river bend, I look once more. Just around the river bend, beyond the shore, where the gulls fly free. Don't know what for. Why do all my dreams extend just around the river bend? I've such grand names and so many names that I grow numb. But sure, one is bound to come, because I wish it so. I wish it so. It's the unrest inside me, and I think I'll go mad. I love theater so much. When I was a kid, I'd force my dad to film me making these really hammy home movies, and then I'd force my brothers to be in my skits. They hated when I put makeup on them. Oh, I was at my friend's house the other day, and she told me what an agent was. I gotta get me one of those. I mean, how else am I gonna make it out of Fairfield? Some girls like to cook and sew. When I cook, it's in a show. I was born to entertain. How am I doing? Some girls prefer to wash and clean. I'd rather learn a dance routine. I was born to entertain. Where you from? Instead of walking, I go flapping. When I tap, I make it happen. Mom says I have Broadway on the brain. You'll get some company in that seat when I strum my stuff. You'll be on your feet. I was born to sing and dance. Not every showbiz Cinderella has got to come from Pocatello. My star will rise like bubbles in champagne. By now you guess my one ambition is not to be no mathematician. I was born to amuse from the tip of my nose to the top of my shoes. So strike with the band and hand me my hat and my cane. 'Cause I was born to enter. I was born to enter. I was born to enter. My parents are finally letting me audition in New York. Okay, I even convinced them to let me go to the city all by myself for a big Broadway open call. I got typed out right away, which was a little discouraging. Okay, it was really discouraging, but my mom totally blew that out of proportion, and now she's telling me how ridiculous it is to get myself so excited and set myself up for disappointment. But I don't mind the disappointment if I'm doing what I love to do. I've seen all the shows. I know all the composers. I've memorized all the lyrics to all my favorite musicals. I even wrote a fan letter to Tony Award-winning composer William Finn. And last week, he called me just to tell me how touched he was by what I wrote. I was so excited that William Finn called my house on a Saturday night that I took a picture of my caller ID and put it in my scrapbook just to prove it. My mom wants me to have this normal childhood. She's ready to pull the plug. And I just got an acceptance letter to the University of Michigan. Their musical theater program only takes 10 girls out of the entire country. So what if I got typed on my first big break? Theater's just something I have to do. Win some, lose some, left with hope in tatters. This time, next time, only one thing matters. Keep on going. Spotlight, music playing. You will see me trying, hoping, praying. You there in the back row. Love me when I sing my song. Hear me loud and clear and strong. Tell me that you need those dreams I bring you. Take these words I sing you. Show me I'm not wrong. Reach out through the shadows, your hand taking hold of mine. Touch me like my life with sunshine. Need me, can't you see how I need you? Dreaming's what I do. Show me dreams come true. You there in the back row. Want me, watch me sing my song for you. Things are good. I'm doing a lot of auditioning. I'm even performing. And now that I have an agent, I'm taking the train into the city by myself for auditions because I'm a woman now. It's great. I'm really getting to know the showbiz crowd. And now I feel like I have mentors in this crazy business. You know, people I really trust, I think. I had some time to kill before an audition the other day. So I went to the bookstore and I was browsing the healing and spirituality section. I needed some inspiring poetry to pep me up because honestly, I just haven't been feeling like myself lately. You can heal your life. Oh. The artist's way. The courage to heal for survivors of sexual abuse. Mother said straight ahead, not to delay or be misled. I should have heeded her advice, but he seemed so nice. He was a really good voice teacher. How could he do that to me? And he showed me things, many beautiful things that I hadn't thought to explore. They were off my path, so I never had dared. I had been so careful, I never had cared. And he made me feel excited, both excited and scared. When he said, come in with that everything familiar seems to disappear forever. And when everything familiar seems to disappear forever.
April 25th, 6:32 p.m. Patient arrived. Needed 122 units of blood. Portions of colon, stomach, and intestines perforated. Air pockets formed on neck and face. Stabilized with IVs. From so much pressure in the abdomen, when surgeon made incision, stomach hit ceiling of operating room. Patient went into septic shock, unable to clot, and massive leaking. Patient swelled to 3 times her normal size.
Seems to disappear forever. Say a prayer for me tonight. I'll need every prayer that you can spare to get me by. Say a prayer, and while you're praying, keep on saying she's much too young to die. Oh, dear Waterloo, whispers my heart. Pray I'll be Wellington, not Bonaparte. Oh, say a prayer for me this evening. Bow your head and please stay on your knees tonight. When I was betrayed by someone who I really trusted, I was too afraid to tell anyone. I kept that secret inside for months, and all the confusion, shame, and anger that tormented me, I felt in my stomach. I had always heard how the mind and body were related. I didn't realize how much. It was April of my senior year, a week before my prom, and I was in a coma. One day I'm sleeping in my bed. The next minute it's months later, and I don't recognize anything or anyone, including myself. I had just got in my college acceptance letters, and the biggest problem in my life was which one to choose. Suddenly everything wasn't so possible anymore. Before Lord God made the sea and the land, he held all the stars in the palm of his hand, and they ran through his fingers like grains of sand, and one little star fell alone. So the Lord God hunted through the wide night air for that little dark star in the wind down there, and he stated and promised he'd take special care so it wouldn't get lost again. Now a man don't mind if the stars grow dim and the clouds blow over and darken him, so long as the Lord God's watching over them, keeping track how it all goes on. But I've been walking through the night and the day till my eyes get weary and my head turns gray. And sometimes it feels maybe God's gone away, forgetting the promise that we heard him say. And we're lost out here in the stars, little stars. I remember waking up from my coma, and I was so heavily sedated that I thought I was underwater. Then I remember trying to take bites of my brothers because I thought they were pieces of fruit. since I couldn't talk, I made up my own sign language, which was mostly pointing to words on a board that my mom had made, and then just a lot of. And then I remember the sobering day that the doctor finally told me what was going on. He said I had no stomach anymore. I couldn't eat or drink, and he didn't know when or if that would ever be possible again. What do you say to that? I felt betrayed, as though the promises made to me as a child were all lies. Little stars, big stars, glowing through the night, and we're lost out here in the stars. Soon, I saw so many doctors come and go that I became numb to seeing doctors, almost as numb as they were to seeing me. It was dehumanizing, constantly lifting up my hospital gown as they routinely checked these tubes and bags on me, which to me felt like alien machinery. I felt so alive inside, yet I couldn't even stand up without my feet violently shaking. I was 18, hormonal and comatose for my senior prom. I would have loved to shout out to those young, eligible med school bachelors, hello, up here. I'm a person, I'm a woman, and legal. One time, there was this really cute doctor, and he was about to come in and examine me. So I put on a little makeup, a little mascara, bit of rouge, and he came in, looked at me, and said my bronchial tubes were entrancing. My epiglottis filled him with glee. He simply loved my larynx and were wild about my pharynx, but he never said he loved me. He said my epidermis was darling and found my blood as blue as can be. He went through wild ecstatics when I showed him my lymphatics, but he never said he loved me. Once I loved such a shattering physician, quite the best looking doctor in the state. He looked after my physical condition, and his bedside manner was great. When I'd gaze up and see him there above me, looking less like a doctor than a Turk, I was tempted to whisper, do you love me, or do you merely love your work? He said, my cerebellum was brilliant, and my cerebrum far from NG. I know he thought a lot of my medulla oblongata, but he never said he loved me. He said my maxillaries were marvels, and found my sternum stunning to see. He did a double hurdle when I shook my velvet girdle, but he never said he loved me. And though no doubt it was not very smart of me, I kept on wrecking my soul to figure out why he loved every part of me and yet not me as a whole. With my esophagus, he was ravished, enthusiastic to a degree. He says it was just enormous. My vertiformis. But he never said he loved me. Wow, that happened. The more alert I became, the more I remembered of my old life, PC, pre-coma. Things like Water. I missed water so much. Drinking it, touching it. The first time they let me splash water on my face, I cried. It reminded me of washing my face in my old bathroom, in my old body, and I didn't know if I'd ever feel like that again. In the hospital, the highlight of my day was when I was finally allowed to brush my teeth, just for that soothing gargle of ice cold water that would kill me if I ever dared to swallow it. Those basic human needs I couldn't fulfill reminded me of other primal needs I couldn't fulfill, like being outside, feeling the cool air on my skin. It's funny how we take the little things for granted. I remember sky. It was blue as ink. Or at least I think. I remember sky. I remember snow. Soft as feathers, sharp as thumbtacks, coming down like wind. And it made you squint when the wind would blow. And ice like vinyl on the street, gold as silver, white as sheet, lay like strings and changing things like leaves. I remember leaves, green as spearmint, crisp as paper. I remember trees, bare as cracks, spread like broken umbrellas, and parks and bridges, ponds and zoos, muddy faces, muddy shoes, light and noise and bees and boys and day. I remember days, or at least I try. But as years go by, there are sort of haze, and the bluest ink isn't really sky. And at times I think I would gladly die for a day of sky. I would have given anything to run around outside and would often daydream about frolicking around in the sprinklers that were just outside the hospital. But in the ICU, there were no sprinklers, no windows, no air, no food, no sign of life. Time went by so slowly. When all you can do is lie there and your day isn't broken up with meals, you can go crazy from boredom. I would actually look forward to field trips, like when they would take me downstairs for a CAT scan. I even started to like the clowns that came in and played the ukulele, and even the mimes. Well, not so much the mimes. The only marking of time and sign of hope were the small triumphs, like being able to sit upright in a chair for the first time, or eventually, I didn't need to be plugged into as many machines, and so my family started taking me on high-speed rides on my wheelchair Racing through the hallways of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, we'd explore all the hidden nooks and crannies of every unit. I'm sure we weren't allowed in half the places we went to, until one day we found this beautiful outside path where I got to enjoy the first breath of fresh air I had had in months. I remember seeing the sunset for the first time. I felt like a child being born all over again. Even the mundane felt glorious. Seeing people having lunch outside, birds overhead, the roaring of traffic. Now I just wanted to be a part of it. Within a few months, we managed to turn the ICU into a pretty happening place. Since all of this happened just before I had a chance to graduate high school, my headmaster surprised me at the hospital with my own private graduation ceremony. In the middle of the ICU, cap, gown, diploma, everything. On top of that, my dad drove back to Connecticut that day and picked up 6 of my high school friends who I hadn't seen since before my coma. I burst out crying. You remember me telling you about William Finn, calling me when I was 15 and me taking a picture and putting it in my scrapbook? Well, when I was in a coma, my mom was looking through my old high school scrapbook. She found the picture, called the number, and told William Finn what had happened to me. So here I was, receiving my high school diploma in the middle of the ICU, and in attendance were my headmaster, my parents, my 6 best friends, and William Finn. This song of his is one of my favorites. I'd rather be sailing, yes I would, on an open sea. I'd stand at the railing if I could, feeling wild and free. The sun is on my neck, the wind is in my face, the water's incredibly blue, and I'd rather be sailing. Yes, I'd want to go sail and then come home to you. Friends are good, but I'd rather be sailing. Food is nice, but I'd rather be sailing. People are swell, but I'd rather be sailing over the horizon. And I'd rather be sailing, yes I would, on an open sea. I'd stand there and hemming if I could, feeling wild and free. The sun is on my neck, the wind is in my face, the sea is incredibly blue, and I'd rather be sailing. Yes, I'd want to go sail and then come home to you. gotta go sail and then come home to you. To you. As my health started to improve, I started to get my old spunk back, which the doctors were happy about and not so happy about. I was restless, antsy, and starting to feel like a prisoner. My parents slept in the ICU with me every night, so they were feeling a little cooped up too. We had to get out, so we decided one day to make a break for it and go shopping. The time was 3:35 p.m. on a Tuesday. The doctors had rounded, the nurses were filling their meds. The coast was finally clear to bust out of this joint. We plotted our escape in the mess hall. Dad would keep a lookout while Mom and I headed towards the service elevators, down to the lobby, out the back entrance, onto 166th and Broadway, and we'd be free men. I was having a great time. I was finally free of my IV pole for an hour. I was dancing in the middle of the street singing, "I got no IVs to hold me down." I didn't understand why everyone was staring at me until my mom reminded me that I was still in my hospital gown. I didn't care. I raced down the street, turned a corner, and found myself face to face with Juanita, the social worker. Someone must have tipped her off. We were kindly escorted back, and at nurse's report that night, there was a little announcement. Amy Oestreicher, blood draw, bandage change, and please make sure that she and her family stay on the unit. You're not my mother. You can't give me a curfew. I know as an ICU patient, I can't just go traipsing about New York, but I was also a stir-crazy teenager. The doctors seemed to just expect me to be happy I was alive, but I wanted a timetable for how long it would take to get my real life back again. People are telling me I'll be surgically reconnected soon, and I'll eventually be able to eat and drink soon enough. Before you know it, time, patience, the tears I'm shedding now, I hear will dry in time. The fears I'm fearing now, I hear will die in time. Will I wait around for tomorrow, watching life drift away? What about today? I know if I just wait, the sun will shine someday. And when it does, the weather will be fine someday. Will the skies I search for tomorrow stay that same shade of gray? What about today? Till Nirvana comes. What about today? Till Messiah comes. What about today? Till the mountains move an ocean part and angels and the lichens are. What about today? I can't help wondering if tomorrow ever comes. And what's my life been lived for if it never comes? I hear a lot of toasts to tomorrow, but none of them ever say, what about today? What about today? What about today? What about today? What about tomorrow and the day after tomorrow? I am never getting to college. All I wanted to do was act. I studied. I found the best voice teachers. Idiot! I'm sick of being a science experiment. People look at me like I'm a freak in a sideshow, and I'm supposed to put on a smile, and so they don't feel bad. Well, I'm so glad they don't feel bad. It makes everything so much better. I can take care of myself. If I fall, I'll get up. Don't help me. Nobody has any answers, not even the doctors. I thought my parents knew everything. They can't even help me. This sucks. I wish I could. I wish I was. I want to cry. I want to feel the world around me whirling by. I want to cry for those that live and those that die. You sing a lullaby. I want to cry. I want to pray that all my wishes could come true after today. And should I put a word for you in? Should I say an extra Kyrie? I want to pray. I want to lie. I want to think that things are better than they are. I want to think we've gotten further and that far is just an inch away. I want to lie. A horse with wings. I want to think of things like that and other things. I want two brothers, one who laughs and one who sings. I hope the future brings a horse with wings. I want to know the things they told me way back then were really so. I want to make a little mark before I go, not barely just get by. I want to fly. I wanted spiritual fulfillment, but I'd give that up in a heartbeat for a hunk of steak. I was discharged from the hospital a few months later and sent home, but I still couldn't eat or drink. Not exactly the homecoming I had always hoped and dreamed for. Instead, I had what my dad called my nightly pina colada cocktail, which was actually a 3-liter bag of milky white IV vein food that I'd have to carry around in a purse for 16 hours a day. My parents were heartbroken that I couldn't eat, so they rid the house of all food. My dad would actually come home from work and hide in the garage eating his eggplant parmesan. But my sense of smell at that time was superhuman, so I was definitely on to him. I missed having contact with food. What people don't understand is that playing with food, seeing it, smelling it, actually gave me some kind of vicarious satisfaction. In the hospital, all the kids who couldn't eat were always the ones who wanted to play in the toy kitchen. We're obsessed with what we can't have. So I was going crazy with no food in the house. I mean, even if I can't eat it, can I at least hold a potato? Not being able to eat was difficult, but not being able to drink, especially in the heat of summer, was just torture. After a full year of not even an ice cube, I was finally allowed to drink clear liquids. Heaven. 2 ounces of water the first week, then 4, then 6. I couldn't wait to take my very first sip of water with the tiniest straw I could find. I took a sip. And then I remembered that water didn't taste like anything. And then I started to have a little fun with fluids. Since I didn't have a working digestive system yet, the surgeons created an opening in my neck. So anything I drank went through the opening and into a cute little bag. I would try to drink different colored juices based on what I was wearing so my bag would match my outfit. For Halloween, I took the bag off. I drank cherry red Kool-Aid, and as the red liquid spewed out of my neck, I said, do not be afraid, I'm a vampire. I think I was the only one that got a kick out of that. All this time, I was unable to eat a thing. Day after day, week after week, month after month, I waited patiently. It wasn't until 2 years after that I was finally able to eat, thanks to a 19-hour surgery and 3 shifts of nurses and doctors. As I was recovering, every other person came up to me and said, oh, hey, I worked on you. Oh, I worked on you too. I'm a celebrity. But healing after that was not a straight path. Wounds opened, stitches burst loose, and I learned that no surgery is a guarantee. 6 years and 27 surgeries after that. What is a guarantee? Words. Some words. Rhyme. Day after day is a war to get through. Day after day, a war to get hard to feel. Day after day is a war to get through. Hard to feel wonderful, hard to feel new. Struggling through my time resolutely, diverting myself from the pointless. Why me? Life is long enough to sing my song, and I will get my turn. I know this candle's bound to burn, and I will have my time to sing. I will, even if it's anything. There's gotta be a reason I was born here. It's time to crawl out from the dusty corner. The sounds are so loud when I'm sleeping, turning and moaning and tripping and stumbling over my aspirations, stifling my exclamations. Let me out. I was wrong. Let me in. I belong. I have to be meant for much sturdier ground, meant for more than just for sticking around. Wings too worn for flight. Somehow find the light. Step out the door and the battles I fight. Tire and test me, but don't strain my might. Looking back on faded glories I've sung, now quiet and dry at the tip of my tongue. Why so slow before my time to show all of the wonders that build deep inside? Day after day while I struggle and hide, who have I become? It's time to warn her to find herself and sweep her from the corner. Life is long enough to sing my song, a song that's strong, that's black and blue, a song that's meant for others too. And I will have my time to sing, I will, for it is every everything will be okay in the end. And if it's not okay, it's not the end. I Googled this bit of wisdom, and many people have taken credit for saying it, but I've lived it. And this is certainly not the end. And I don't think it ever will be, because every day seems to bring a new miracle. My first bite of food in years, and getting the lead role of Nancy and Oliver a month after being discharged from the ICU, from not walking to leaping across the stage in Cats, teaching nursery school, learning karate, and the biggest one of all, that I'm here right now to tell you about these miracles. My 13th surgery was when I was finally supposed to eat. I didn't know it would turn into 27, but after number 13, I was airvac'd across the country to Yale while doctors could figure out what to do. I was stuck there for 4 months. But with every obstacle, I seemed to discover a new opportunity. Waiting for answers, again, not eating or drinking, my mom started bringing cheap art supplies up to the ICU cubicle. The day I picked up a paintbrush for the first time, my world changed forever. I had found a way to express things that were too painful, complicated, and overwhelming for words. Whatever I do, I tend to do obsessively. And soon enough, I had created 70 paintings in that hospital in the 4 months I was there. The Today Show with Kathy Lee and Hoda heard about my art and my story, and they had me on for a segment they did called Everyone Has a Story. Kathy Lee and David Friedman wrote a song for me that was performed in that segment, and this is that song. My life was full of promise, 18. With my best days ahead, when I found myself in a coma, barely a heartbeat, practically dead. But I had so much to live for, I did. I just couldn't give up. So I found the strength to keep living and drink from a half-filled cup. Guess what? I'm still alive. I'm still here by my will. For I knew I just had to survive. Now there's not a day that my heart doesn't sing. If I'm still alive, I can do anything. And I will, 'cause I'm still alive. My life was full of danger, it was. There seemed no hope for me when I found myself at a crossroad. But in my agony, I still could see I was here, still alive. And by God's will, there was still hope that I could survive. Now there's not a day that my heart doesn't sing. If I'm still alive, I can do anything. And I will, I surely will. 'Cause I'm still alive. Still alive. I'm still alive. So my show used to end right around here when I premiered this in 2012, but a few things happened right after that I wanted to update you on. So doing the show was a big deal for me. I'd never spoken about what had happened to me at all. So after a big milestone like that, some people might go to the bar for a drink. Some people might bake a cake. Someone might post it on Facebook. Not me. I decided to get another surgery. It was an elective surgery that was supposed to make me normal, which was weird because I was never really normal before. I knew this was a risky surgery, but number 27 was supposed to clear up some leftover kinks I had. So here I am lying in the gurney of the operating room when the surgeon bends over and whispers in my ear, "So are you sure you really want to do this?" So I lifted up my head with my last ounce of strength and said, "I just did a one-woman show. I can do anything." Apparently not everything. 3 extra surgeries, a few catheters, and 2 months at Mount Sinai later, I woke up with more problems than I came in with. So now here I was, set even further back with even more medical complications. I was angry, frustrated, confused. I felt guilty. I felt like I had messed everything up. This is not the path I planned for myself, but does anyone's life ever work out exactly how they plan it? There are only 3 things I know for certain. 1, you don't need a stomach to survive. True. 2, there's always something to be grateful for. And 3, you can always write a new story. All of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am. So many stories of where I've been and how I got to where I am. But these stories don't mean anything if you've got no one to tell them to. It's true. Because I was made for you. I climbed across the mountaintops, swam all across the ocean blue. I crossed all the lines and I broke all the rules. But baby, I broke them all for you. Oh, 'cause even when I was flat broke, you made me feel like $1,000,000. You do, 'cause I was made for you. You see the smiles on my mouth, it's hiding the words that won't come out. All of my friends who think that I'm blessed, they don't know my head is a mess. Oh no, they don't know who I really am. And they don't know what I've been through like you do. 'Cause I was made for you. All of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am. So many stories of where I've been and how I got to where I am. But these stories don't mean anything. I've got no one to tell them to. It's true. I made you. Oh yeah, it's true. 'Cause I was made for you. October 9th, 8:59 p.m. on the East Coast. My show is over. Thank God. But I will always be gutless and grateful and watching an episode of Bridezillas the other day, and this bride completely flipped out because the flowers on her cake were the wrong shade of magenta. We all blow things out of proportion sometimes. I still scream at my mom when she treats me like I'm 10, but sometimes you just gotta remind yourself when the news is all bad, when you're sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Tell yourself how lucky you are. When your life's going wrong, when the fates are unkind, when you're limping along and you're kicked from behind, tell yourself how lucky you are. Why decry a cloudy sky, an empty my philosophy is simply things could be worse. So be happier here. Think of life as a thrill. And if worse comes to worse, which we all know it will, thank your lucky stars you got in this far. And tell yourself how lucky you are. How lucky, how lucky, how lucky, how lucky you are.
Thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone. I'm Maggie. I'm the festival director. Amy, if you need to grab anything, I just have a few quick announcements.
Do it.
Do it. I love you, Amy. So the first one is that we are putting a tip jar into the chat. We encourage any of you out there that are watching us, if you give a tax-deductible donation to the tip jar, that supports Marshstream and that supports Amy. If you don't already know, the festival runs through Sunday. We have a total of 56 performers. We hope that you'll stay here or join us in our other theater, Theater Berkeley. In this webinar coming up at 6:30 p.m., we have Valerie David's The Pink Hulk, One Woman's Journey to Find the Superhero Within. Feel free to just stay where you are. This webinar will continue on. And with that, I would love to welcome back Amy for our brief and quick Q&A. That was phenomenal. How do you feel? How do you feel? Do you feel good?
I'm good. Thankfully, it's a reasonable hour. I know when I do the Marshstream, it's like 11 o'clock my time, but
remind me where
on the East Coast.
You're on the East Coast too. Okay, because I'm in Brooklyn. Are you in Manhattan?
Brooklyn, and I'm in Connecticut, but hey, Brooklyn, neighbor.
Yeah, look at us. I know it's going to be a late night for me, but I'm glad we got you on earlier. My first question that I have is, so I have here, so you said in 2012 was when you premiered the show.
Yes.
And then you had that additional surgery. What made you come back? What was that process like to do the show again after?
Yeah, well, it was very interesting. So I premiered it in New York at the Triad. And this was an elective surgery, ironically, on election day, because, you know, there was no game plan for like, oh, let's hook up Amy's insides, like, let's read this manual. So, yeah. You know, it wasn't like perfect. So there were a few things they wanted to clear up. And so a big argument for some people was like, you know, if you don't get this surgery, you'll always wonder like, oh, what if I did try it? So it was the first time I actually had to choose, like, I'm going to get this. And it was very surreal waking up and like trying to tell the nurses like, no, you don't get it. I just did a one-woman show about how like I overcame all this, you know, and suddenly you're back in, or worse than you were before. So what inspired me to keep doing it, the show after, is, first of all, like, I felt like this medical thing again. And then I remembered like, you know, who am I outside of this? And that really turned out to be a blessing. I talk a lot about how detours, lead us in different directions, but I realized in my show, so many people were relating to it that didn't necessarily go through medical trauma or things like that, but they could relate to this story of dealing with uncertainty, just like we are right now during COVID. And so, long story short, it inspired me to take this show and turn it into a mental health and sexual assault prevention program where I ended up touring colleges and speaking to kids who were my age, and doing the show and then talking to them about issues that that I experienced. And I don't think that would have happened had I taken a second look at the show. And because of that, I've toured it from like Hawaii to Washington D.C. for 8 years now. And
That's
now
amazing.
I have a new show, but that it meant a lot to me that my story, you could just be some kind of just general archetypal path that people could get inspiration from. It took me out of like, oh, what happened to me, and more like, okay, we all deal with things in our lives that we don't expect.
And it's hopeful too. I think there were so many moments of hope that you shared that I think that we can all connect to that, finding the silver lining when something is hard. I love that tonight.
But it's interesting. It also shows the power and how important it is to tell your story.
Yeah.
Because I talk a lot about how when I was going through all this, it's not like I could bookmark all these spots of hope, like, oh, I have hope going through this. Like, actually, the process of putting together the show, that was when I realized, like, oh, this led me to that, and this led me to that. And that's where I found, oh, this really did give me the resilience I needed. So that's why I think it's so important for everyone to just, even during this time, use this as a time to reflect and write, and just you write them down, because this was a way for me to put those pieces of my life and find that hope. And I go back to that time and find hope now. So yeah.
And you're a creator of many things. Tell us about all the things that you do. And we're going to pop some things into the chat.
Yeah, so my creativity is just basically this splatterball of energy that's just like water. It's just like, wow, it goes everywhere.
I love it.
But you know what? It was the only way I had to transform all this. So basically, as I said in my show, really briefly, I had never done visual art in my life. I still have no formal art training. I wouldn't have it any other way. But I do a lot of art, and I think you posted the link to my Redbubble shop. But now my art's on all this fun stuff, like these fun little purses, and also on my Redbubble site, I have all my masks, like COVID masks now, and lots of stuff like that. And I also last year I published my memoir, My Beautiful Detour, and that will be an audiobook next month, which I'm excited about. But it's turned into everything. It's turned into puppetry, visual art, songwriting. This only has 2 of my original songs, but my last musical is all original stuff. And just creativity is a way we can take whatever energy, and we can find ways to figure out what's going on for us and create a new path. So as you can see, it's been my way of connecting with nature. The state of our environment is very important to me, and I feel like in healing ourselves, we heal the earth, and vice versa. And so a lot of my paintings reflect that. And yeah.
I love that. And I love how creativity manifests in different ways. And you also, I believe you mentioned you do TED Talks, right? Didn't you say you have one coming up soon?
Yeah, so I've done 3 TED Talks, and they're all different, but the theme that pervades all of them, because it's pervaded my life, is how creativity has helped transform something. And so my 4th one is going to be this month, October 18th, on how through creativity we can heal our planet through playing our part. I think this, climate change can feel like such a paralyzing issue when we look at all the data and we see all the news, that the dangerous part about paralysis is feeling like I can't do anything. But, it's not true. I mean, there's something to be the change you want to see in the world, and playing your part. And creativity is the way we can all do that. So that's something I feel very strongly about, especially now. So I'm very much looking forward to that talk on October 18th. And you can see my 3 talks on my website. So
oh, great. And yeah, we did, Brian and Lauren are helping us post those in the chat. So if anyone wants to check that out, feel free. The last question. So you have all these different creative hats that you're wearing. Is there one during COVID, during this time, that you seek out more? Or is it still continue to be varied?
Good question. Well, I got to tell you, puppetry is something I've discovered very recently.
Like making your own puppets as well, or?
Yes. So
amazing.
So I discovered this at the wonderful, Eugene O'Neill Theater Center for their conference, but now I'm doing the online certificate program through UConn. In addition to doing a MFA in interdisciplinary arts at Goddard. But what I love about puppetry is it's a way to combine all the modes of creativity I love, which is writing and art and dance and embodiment. And I love the whole idea of bringing the invisible to life, finding the hidden life behind everything. Puppetry is just a way that we can really engage audiences and say, what do you see in this object? And I think it's a great way, especially now that we're in digital worlds, it's a great way we can get the, others to say, what do you see in this? And we can address larger themes. So at the same time I'm doing this, I actually have a piece showing this weekend in the virtual Puppet Con about flying trees, about how we can all rise rooted like trees. So puppetry is something I recently dived into, but there's a piece in the making that I'm working on ecofeminism and creativity and all that. So that's in the works.
Amazing. You are one of the most creative and busiest person I think I know.
I gotta end this by saying, people, anyone watching, don't think of yourself as an artist to be creative. It's a mindset. We're all feeling energy right now, whether it's anger or uncertainty or anxiety. Use it. And however you use it in a healthy way and get it out, that is my definition of creativity.